Hey guys, it's Jonathan Wyatt, and I have a lot of feelings. Okay, so Toy Story 4 came out and I was super excited about it. I bought my tickets weeks in advance. I went to like one of the very first showings. I was stoked. And then I absolutely hated it. So if you follow me on Instagram, you probably saw that I kind of went on a little bit of a rant on my Instagram story after I saw the movie. And I had a lot of people replying to my story and being like, why didn't you like it? Like, any more details? So I thought I would make a little video about it and just let you guys know my feelings and see if maybe you feel the same way or see if you maybe agree with any of my ideas or anything like that. I don't want to make a completely negative video about how I didn't like the movie, so I think I'm going to start with a couple things that I did like, and then in the middle I'm going to talk about what I didn't like, and then at the end I'm going to talk about how I think that the movie should have been. So I'm going to kind of do like a compliment sandwich, if that makes sense, but like a positive, negative, positive. We'll see how it goes. Also, since I'm filming this video about Toy Story 4, I wanted to wear a Toy Story 4 inspired t-shirt. I really love this shirt. It's from Tomorrowland T-Shirt Authority. I will link their shop down in the description below, and you can use my code JCharming for 10% off. Also, just a heads up, this video is going to have spoilers in it. I don't really know how to give a full review without there being spoilers, so just a heads up. If you haven't seen Toy Story 4, you might want to click away right now, or also maybe you just don't really care about spoilers and want to watch it anyway, so that's good too. Okay, so let's start with what I did like. The biggest thing that I really loved about this movie was the animation. It was absolutely phenomenal. Literally, it was a cartoon, but so many of the shots looked real. A couple of my favorite animation things were the rain at the very beginning of the movie looked real. The lighting throughout the film always looked very realistic, and I really loved how it kind of added like a warmth to the scenes, especially the scenes where the toys are in Bonnie's room. I was like, that lighting though, like, get it. I also was a big fan of the way that the characters moved, especially like Gabby kind of moved kind of like you would think like a toy would. Like, she kind of looked like a baby doll. Oh, I also really liked her eyelashes. Also looked like the old-fashioned like baby dolls, but her movements were just very like doll-like, which were kind of cool. And then also like the humans, the way the humans moved in the movie, they looked real. Like, I don't know what to tell you. Animation has come too far. I'm scared. I also absolutely loved the first 20 minutes of the movie. Hollywood Studios actually showed like a little preview leading up to the movie of like the first 20 minutes. And I definitely went and saw that preview like 6 times. And the first time that I saw it, I cried 3 times because it was phenomenal. Literally just like seeing Woody, my boy, seeing Woody like up on the big screen and like talking to Bo Peep and like his emotions when they try to say goodbye to each other underneath the car and it's raining, and I just wanted to cry. And I did a little bit. It was an emotional 20 minutes. I also really liked Bo Peep's look, how they kind of like changed her outfit. And then I also really liked the idea of her kind of being this more confident, like warrior type of character. After she has like left the toy box and like seen some things throughout her life, I thought that was a really interesting choice, and I actually really liked it. I don't think it was executed as well as it could have been, but I'm gonna get to that later. I also really liked how funny the movie was. I did find a lot of times the humor was kind of at the expense of some of the characters, which I didn't absolutely love. I also thought some of the humor was a little unnecessary at little points in time, and again, like, I'll get into that in a little bit. But overall, I did think the movie was really funny. I did find myself laughing out loud several times. Okay, now let's get into what I didn't like. So there were so many things that I didn't like about the movie that I decided to just kind of do them in chronological order. So we're gonna start with one of the first things that I really didn't like, which was Woody's like obsession with Forky. I feel like the scene itself was really funny of like Forky like jumping into the trash and him thinking he's trash and whatever, and it was like funny and, you know, haha, that's so relatable, I'm trash. But I did kind of feel like the scene might be but I did kind of think that the scene went on for like a little bit too long, and I didn't really love how Woody was so like, I have to protect Forky. Forky is the most important thing to Bonnie, and Bonnie is the most important thing to me. And it was just a little bit like obsessive, you know? I was kind of like, Woody, like, you okay? Like, you want to talk? Like, you look like you're going through it. How can I help? You know, like that video from like Drake and Josh where he's like, whoa, just take it easy, man. That was me in the theater. Also, the fact that they never really touched on why Forky was alive. I'm like, he's a whole spork. And then he's just like walking around and talking, and you're just not gonna talk about it? I'm like, why couldn't you have just that? But whatever. I also really didn't like the fact that Woody just kind of like, just jumped out of a moving vehicle so he could walk 5 miles just to get a piece of garbage from the side of the road, and then he just like happens to be walking and also is able to walk 5 miles, and then just kind of like stumbles upon Bo Peep in this random like thrift store. I'm like, what are the odds that that would happen in real life? Okay, another thing that I absolutely like really didn't like was, why did they make Buzz stupid? Like literally he was like stupid. Like why couldn't he make any decisions without like pressing his button? Like it didn't make sense to me. Literally in Toy Story 2, he leads the whole gang like across the town to go and save Woody, and he did that like all on his own. He did not have to talk to his inner voice or anything. But then all of a sudden, he literally can't make a single decision without talking to his inner voice, even coming so far as to like ditch Woody, like leave his friends. The fact that he also was literally talking in front of Bonnie's mom while he was like in Bonnie's mom's hands and like was just still talking and moving. I was like what if she would have seen that? You know what I mean? Like even whenever Buzz thought that he wasn't a toy, he still knew to like freeze when he was around people. You know what I mean? So how come you're so like dumb? Also, where was Jessie? People love Jessie. I love Jessie. Jessie is such a wonderful character, and then she just like wasn't in this movie. Literally the past 3 films have been so good because you love all of the toys and how they're like a family, and you love watching the family and all of the individual pieces of the family work together to grow and to go on adventures and to learn lessons and whatever. Like that's why the movies are so good. And then the fact that they literally just kicked most of the toys to the side, especially Jessie, didn't make sense. Jessie is a well fleshed out, interesting character with an incredible character arc in the second movie. She goes from being mean and abrasive, and then you learn that she has a past that has made her like that, where she has abandonment issues because she was left by someone. She also struggles with claustrophobia of not wanting to be put in the box in the second movie. Also in the fourth movie at the very beginning, they kind of touched on that whenever they were like in the closet and she was kind of like hyperventilating. But they didn't really explore any of these things. They were just like, yeah, we made this super awesome, like super cool, well fleshed out, relatable character, but we're just gonna brush her to the side, like it's no big deal. I didn't love the new characters. I know you're probably gonna freak out on me because I feel like everybody just loses their mind over Duke Kaboom and Ducky and Bunny and everything, but to me, they were just kind of unnecessary. I feel like every single scene that Duke Kaboom was in, all of that time could have been taken and given to Jessie having a B-plot like storyline, and the movie would have been a lot better because people actually love Jessie instead of just kind of adding in this character for no reason. Literally, you could have taken Duke Kaboom out of the movie and absolutely nothing would change. I just really feel like they just really wanted Keanu Reeves in the movie, so they created a character around Keanu Reeves, which I feel like is just kind of cheap and just kind of like, you can tell they just really wanted money and didn't really care about telling like the next chapter in the story of these beloved characters. They just kind of wanted to make money, so we're just gonna throw Keanu Reeves in it. As for Ducky and Bunny, I did think they were absolutely hilarious. I really did like how funny they were. I feel like, again, they were kind of unnecessary. They didn't really add anything to the story. I don't really know why they followed Buzz after they all fell from the carnival game. I mean, I know that they were like wanting a kid, but it was still like, why do they continue and why do they go on such like a long journey? I do think Keegan-Michael Key and Jordan Peele were really funny, and I feel like they could have had their humor in the film, but used that humor in characters that could have added to the story instead of just be there for humor. They already had characters that were really there to add humor to the story, Mr. Potato Head, Rex, but they just brushed them aside to bring in 2 bigger names, which again, I thought were hilarious, and I do like them as people, I like their work, but the characters themselves I just feel like were kind of unnecessary. I think my biggest problem with the film was how Bo treated Woody. She was just very mean and very like walk all over him. I understand they were trying to portray her as no longer like this delicate flower, no longer the damsel in distress, and that she's like been through some things and has like changed and is now like her own independent, strong woman. And I absolutely love that take. It could have been absolutely amazing. There was no need to make her mean. Whenever they were walking into like the toy bar thing and somebody asked, oh, is he your friend? She goes, him? No, he's an accessory. I could not believe that. I literally could not believe it. Like, y'all are friends. Like, you had the same kid. You shared a life together before you both got given away and went in separate ways. So I just really feel like the way that she treated him and how she just really walked all over him, and Woody just kind of took it and was just kind of like, oh, okay, Bo, like whatever you say, you're in charge. I feel like that's very not in character with Woody. I feel like it would have been a lot cooler if they kind of had like a headbutting dynamic where it was like Woody didn't really understand that now this damsel in distress that he knew is now just as strong, just as powerful as him, and he's trying to learn how to accept that, and then at the end have some like resolution of them both realizing that like they can be equal partners and work together and they don't have to be one in charge. I feel like that would have been a lot cooler dynamic. Okay, another big problem that I had with this film was Gabby. What an awful villain. She literally made me so mad. She was so manipulative. She was so evil. She literally tried to rip Woody's voice box out of his body. Like, that's literally, imagine if you were just like walking on the street and somebody walks up to you and is like, hey, can I have your liver? And you're like, no. And then they just tried to like rip out your liver. Like, that wouldn't be a normal thing. Like, ah! And also, she never even like learned her lesson. You know what I mean? Like, she got her way. She never throughout the whole film realized that she was doing anything wrong. The way she treated Woody, the way she treated Forky, the way she treated Forky, I can never say it right. The way she treated Woody, the way she treated Forky, the way she treated her like minion things, what were their names? Benson. The way she treated like Benson and the other ones who I don't even think had names was just so like, she did everything with a big smile on her face. She never had like an evil grin or anything like that. She never realized that she was doing anything wrong. She was just like, oh, well, you have this and I don't have that, so I'm just gonna take it from you and that's fine. And then like at the end, she just gets her way and again, doesn't learn her lesson. Like, what? And then she has a happy ending. And then what happened to her little servants who were literally getting nothing out of the working for her? I don't understand why that was also okay, because it's like, what benefit does Benson have from serving Gabby? She just controls him, and he's portrayed as not having a voice, not being particularly bright, and he's just serving Gabby for why? The movie was also kind of like repetitive. I feel like it was very like, oh, we gotta go get Forky. Oh, we lost Forky. Gotta go get him again. Oh, we lost Forky. It was like, can you just like either leave him behind, make a new one, he's a literal spork, or could you just hold on to him and just go back to Bonnie and just be like, you know what, like you're just going, like I don't understand why they kept like losing him, and they spent so much time in that antique shop. Like I feel like it would have been so cool to explore the carnival more. Like the carnival looked really, really cool. The animation on the carnival like rides and stuff was so cool, but they just didn't really touch on it. They were just like, oh yeah, we have this super cool thing out there, but we're gonna stay in this one little location and just go in circles the whole time. Okay, and then finally, the ending. I did not like the ending. The ending was just a very bad cap on a very bad rest of the movie. I feel like the fact that Woody left all of his friends for Bo Peep was again very out of character. I feel like the toys just all are such a family and have literally crossed great distances and done so much to like be with each other. And now Woody is just kind of like going out on his own. I see what they were trying to do with it, but I feel like it wasn't executed well. I feel like to have a third movie that ends in such a great way, everyone's satisfied, everything is good, and then to reopen this story literally just to make money, like there's no arguing, like the movie was literally made just to make money. They did not need to add to the story. To make this film and then have it end in such an unsatisfying way of splitting up this family forever, because there's not really any way for them to ever see each other again. I think the fact that Woody was just completely walked over by Bo Peep the entire film and then still managed to fall in love with her and then leaves his whole life and all of his friends behind, it just wasn't worth it. You know what I mean? The sacrifice wasn't worth it. Yes, Bo and Woody are... Yes, Bo and Woody were a great couple in the first two movies. Yes, I think they have a lot of potential now, but I feel like for him to just completely leave all of his friends for someone who treats him like Bo does just really wasn't worth the sacrifice. I feel like if the rest of the movie would have been better and they would have built up a stronger dynamic between Woody and Bo of not so much one being in power and one just being very submissive, if they would have built up more of like, we're equals, like a healthy relationship, you know, should be, then I feel like it would have been a lot more satisfying to see, oh wow, Woody gets his happy ending, they're so good together, they're like, they bounce off each other like yin and yang, and I could just be like happy for him that he really found his happy ending, you know? But no, it was just, the rest of the movie just really didn't build up to him making such a huge sacrifice of leaving all of his friends behind. I also just really didn't like the fact that by the end of the movie, they literally had taken everything from Woody. They took his voice and gave it to Gabby, which if you're going along with the same like Buzz analogy of your inner voice being like your soul or your whatever, then he basically gave up his soul or whatever to Gabby, and then he gave up his whole life and all of his friends and everything for Bo, and he gave up his sheriff badge for Jesse, which I did really like that. And again, if the rest of the movie would have been better, I feel like making Jesse sheriff would have been like such a cool moment. I really did like it at the beginning whenever Bonnie like took the badge off of Woody and put it on Jesse. I thought that was a really cool like little twist, you know? If they would have built up Jesse throughout like the rest of the movie as being like a strong leader, if she would have taken more of like a leadership role and trying to find Woody, I feel like it would have been very organic to him to hand off the badge to Jesse now and be like, ooh, Jesse's the new leader. But they didn't build that up at all. They literally just removed Jesse from the movie, and then at the end they're just like, but now you're sheriff. It just made me really upset. I feel like it could have been better. I feel like making Jesse sheriff could have been so cool. But the fact that it was literally just another thing taken from Woody and given to somebody else, I feel like just Woody was really just left with nothing at the end of the movie, except for Bo, who doesn't even treat him well. So it left a bad taste in my mouth. Okay, now that I've gotten all that negativity out of the way, I would like to talk about a couple little changes that I feel like if they would have made to the film, it would have been a lot better overall. I feel like it would have been really cool if at the very beginning of the movie they kind of played up Jesse and Buzz's dynamic, because like in previous movies they've kind of flirted with the idea of Jesse and Buzz like being together, and I feel like if they would have played that up a little bit more at the beginning of the movie and had Woody kind of just like look at them and just kind of think, oh wow, like I kind of wish like I had somebody like that, and him feel kind of lonely. In the movie they kind of played with the idea that he was feeling useless. I feel like if instead of doing this they would have made him feel lonely, I feel like it would have been not only a lot more relatable and then also a lot more organic whenever he does leave all of his friends for Bo. I feel like it would have been better if maybe whenever they donated Bo at the very beginning of the movie, if they donated her straight to the antique shop and then had Woody maybe like see the name of the antique shop or something like that, so that then whenever he sees it later, he'd be like, oh wow, like that's the same antique shop that like Bo was donated to. I wonder if she's in there. Something to make it more organic that he found her and that he was looking for her, not just like stumbling upon, oh, there's Bo's lamp. Like, you know what I mean? If he would have sought her out, I feel like it would have been a lot more organic. Also, if somewhere at the beginning, if they would have addressed the fact that why Forky was alive and maybe talk about how he was alive because Bonnie loved him, and that's like what brought a toy to life, was having like a kid love you and like their love just brings you to life. I feel like that would have been a nice little like note, and then you're kind of like, oh okay, so like we understand why this fork is alive. Why this spork? Okay, why is he a spork and named Forky? Like literally, like let me know, like I don't get it. Doesn't make sense. Bonnie, what you doing? Like, are you dumb? Like, that's a spork. That's not a fork. I don't know what to tell you. Anyways, if they would have kind of touched on the fact that he was alive because of love, I feel like it would have made a lot more sense. And then also, there could have been a cool little moment that I'm gonna get to in just a little bit. I feel like also they should have made Gabby more evil. I feel like the fact that she did everything that she did with a smile on her face and she didn't really know that she was doing anything wrong, she was like, oh, of course you have to give me your voice box. Like, why wouldn't you? I feel like if they would have made her more evil, of maybe having like a vendetta because she's like a broken toy against like all other toys, and maybe even have like her little like minions going around maybe the carnival and like kidnapping toys or things like that, or trying to fix herself by breaking other toys, or things like that. If they would have like touched on that and made her more of an evil villain, I feel like it would have made her a bigger threat and not so much just a very manipulative character that then whenever she gets her character arc is like, oh, she didn't really change anything. It's okay to completely manipulate people and just take things from them just because they have it and you don't. So I feel like if Gabby would have like kidnapped Woody or something, trying to take his voice box instead of just kind of like holding on to Forky, I feel like that would have raised the stakes a little bit. And then also if they could have had Bo come and save Woody from Gabby and like from the very beginning of the movie, and then maybe somehow Forky gets left behind or something like that. I feel like if Bo would have saved Woody and that's how they like first met, it would have been a lot cooler. And if Bo was like still living in the antique shop and just kind of like a rebel, and like if the antique shop was kind of just like run by Gabby instead of her just like having her little minions, but everybody else is just chilling in a club somewhere, which I still don't understand the toy club, like what with that? But if Gabby kind of like ran the thing and like Bo was kind of a rebel just saving random toys, and then she just so happened to save Woody, like the love of her life from like years ago, I feel like that would have been a cooler way for them to meet, rather than just like, oh, we happen to be played with by the same little girl. I also feel like if Jesse would have gone with Buzz to go try to save Woody, it would have been a lot cooler than Buzz just going by himself because his voice told him to. And then they could have even played up the dynamic a little bit more between Buzz and Jesse of like their like romantic relationship, and then also of Jesse taking a leadership role. I also think it would have been really cool if Jesse would have been the one to like save Buzz from the carnival game, And then in the process of her like saving Buzz from like the wall and getting him down, she also saved Ducky and Bunny, and maybe somehow they told Ducky and Bunny that they were looking for the antique shop, and Ducky and Bunny are like, oh, like we know that antique shop, we'll take you there if you can get us a kid. Then that would have been more of like a reason for Ducky and Bunny to even be in the movie, because again, I do really like them. I thought they were so funny. I just wish they would have had more of a purpose. So I feel like if they knew the way and were gonna like guide Buzz and Jessie to go find Woody, it would have given them more of a purpose. I also feel like it would have been beneficial if they kind of touched a little bit on like Bo, like they were kind of like, oh, Bo has like been through it, and so that's made her a rebel, and that's made her this, you know, strong, like I'm gonna kick your butt type of character. But I feel like if they would have kind of like maybe had like a flashback of or have her maybe tell Woody like what she's been through, I feel like it would have made her a lot more of a relatable character. I feel like it would have made a little bit more sense of how her character had changed so much if they would have touched on that, kind of like they did in Toy Story 2 with Jessie's whole backstory. That made her so much more of a relatable character, and you really did feel for her. I feel like having Bo have such like a drastic change and then them just not really touching on it doesn't really make sense. And then, like I said before, if Bo and Woody had more of like kind of like a struggle for power dynamic of them being like equals, and like Woody coming to terms with the fact that like this girl that he thought maybe he could like save now doesn't need saving and might even save him, and now just them both kind of like learning about how to like co-captain, if that makes sense, kind of how to like work together and both be in charge instead of one being in charge of the other. I feel like that would have made such a cooler dynamic. And then if towards the end they could have like taught Gabby that she was fine just the way she is. She didn't need to be fixed. Somebody could love her even though she was broken. She didn't have to change that aspect of herself. I feel like teaching kids in this movie that you should take from someone else. You should change yourself. You're not good enough the way you are if someone else views you as broken. Like Gabby was fine just the way she was with herself. Like she could walk around, she could talk to others and things like that. It was her voice box. She felt like she wasn't enough because whenever a human pulled on her string, she couldn't talk to the human. I feel like touching on that of like, if there's something about you that other people don't think is good enough, you should change that to be good enough for them instead of just loving yourself the way you are. I feel like if they would have touched on that and told Gabby that she was like fine just the way she is and help her like learn to love herself without having to take from someone else, I feel like that would have been a lot cooler lesson to learn than teaching kids, oh, you're taking from someone else. You know what I mean? And then if at the end, whenever they're all running to like the RV and stuff and they're about to like split ways, I feel like whenever Buzz and Woody are talking to each other, I feel like if, again, they had built up more of Bo and Woody's relationship and them kind of falling in love throughout the movie, they did have like that one scene where like the lighting was really cute and they like made little like, you know, like the like sexy eyes, you know, like the, you know what I'm saying? Like, hey girl, you know what I mean? Like if they would have expanded on that and had more of like building a relationship instead of just like that one little moment, then I feel like whenever Buzz said, she'll be fine, Bonnie will be fine, I feel like if he would have expanded a little bit on where earlier they were talking about Forky was alive because an owner loved him, if Buzz could have said something along the lines of, again, if they hadn't made him stupid, but whatever, if Buzz would have said something along the lines of like, Woody, like you said yourself to Forky, like a toy comes to life because someone loves them, but a toy continues to be alive because they learn to love someone back. And then whenever he told Woody to go back and be with Bo, I feel like that would have been like a, this is the reason that you're still living. Like you don't have to be alone anymore. You don't have to please Andy or Bonnie or whatever. You can live for yourself and you can love her, and that will be what keeps you alive. You don't need like an owner. I feel like if they would have touched on that, it would have had such a heartwarming lesson, and I feel like you would have been a lot more happier for Woody and Bo instead of it just being like, oh, go be with her, Bonnie will be fine. You know what I mean? If they hadn't kept it so surface level, if they had really dove in deeper into that. And then I feel like if there were a couple like little maybe like during the credits like scenes like they did have in this movie, if there could have been one where maybe Gabby is like sitting on a shelf and then some little girl comes up and like picks her up and just falls in love with her, and then you find out like the little girl is deaf. I feel like that would have been so cool because like Gabby is perfect for that girl. Like she's perfect just the way she is, you know what I mean? I feel like that would have been a lot more like touching than it being like, you have to change yourself to be good for something, and then even then you still might not be good enough. And then another one where maybe Bo and Woody, kind of like how Barbie and Ken did to Sunnyside Daycare in the third movie, if they would have helped all these like antique toys in the toy shop be bought and things like that. The grandma even says towards the beginning of the movie that like, oh, none of the toys here get bought anyways. If like Woody and Bo could have worked on changing that and finding these antique toys good homes. And then I feel like the absolute like perfect way to end the movie and end the franchise is like go through the credits, have it be like the full credits, and then at the end, after the credits, have a little scene. Have it be like 10 years later and have it be like in the antique shop, and Bo and Woody are sitting on a little shelf like as toys. And then if they had someone that you like don't see their face, pick them up and just like really look at them and be like, oh wow, I had toys just like these whenever I was a kid. And like buys them and gives them to maybe his like little 2-year-old, 3-year-old child, and then it pans up to his face and it's Andy buying Bo and Woody from the thrift store and giving it to his child, and it just kind of would come full circle, and like Woody just really did get his happy ending with Bo and with Andy. I feel like that would have been such a cooler way to end the story. I liked at the end of Toy Story 3 how he gave them away to Bonnie. I thought that was like cool, but I feel like I always just wanted Andy really to give the toys to his kids, and I feel like if Andy just stumbled into the thrift store and bought Bo and Woody and then did end up giving them to his child, I feel like that just would have been the perfect way to end the franchise instead of their lost toys and traveling with the circus, which I feel like is not great. So that is it for my Toy Story 4 review, kind of my like why I didn't like the movie. I hope you guys liked this. I know it was really negative, and I know I said a lot of opinions, and I know I try to like not be super opinionated on my channel, so I really hope like I didn't offend anybody. These are just my views, and I'm very biased. I love Woody so much. If you understand like what I do for a living, you would understand why I love Woody so much, but I'm just very passionate about these characters in the story. So again, like, I know I'm looking like way too much into this, but I just feel like there were a lot of changes that could have been made to make the movie a lot better. If you like this video, make sure to give it a big thumbs up down below. Subscribe and hit that bell icon so you can be notified every single time I post. Make sure to follow all of my social media accounts, which will be linked in the description below, as well as check out Tomorrowland T-Shirt Authority, which will also be linked down below, and use code JCharming for 10% off. Other than that, thank you guys so much for watching, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye.